Welcome to this presentation about recording voiceovers. My name is Nora Diaz, and I'm one of the co-organizers of the Innovation and Interpreting Summit. I'm really happy that you're here. So first of all, why voiceovers and what kind of voiceovers am I talking about? I'm not talking about the kind of voiceover that is recorded in a professional studio with voice actors, special sound effects, and all that. What I'm talking about is those use cases where the client contacts you and says that they would like you to interpret a video that they have and then send them the recording, either in a video file or in an audio file. Two use cases that I've had for this just in the past few weeks are an online industrial safety training course where some of the recorded lessons were in English and the client wanted to provide a version interpreted into Spanish. Another one was a town hall meeting that needed to be interpreted into Spanish after the fact. So in this presentation, you will learn how to create a video or an audio file with your recorded voiceover. This is not a presentation where we will discuss considerations regarding pricing or recording fees or dividing the work among members of the interpreting team, but rather just the technical aspects of providing such a service. The process we will be covering today will help you either streamline any current processes that you're using to record your voiceovers, or maybe even add a new service that you can offer to your clients. We will use a program called DaVinci Resolve. The free version is enough to do what I'm going to show you today. So as a first step, you may want to pause the video, go to the download link, download and install the software. This presentation is a step-by-step guide, so you can choose either to watch the whole presentation and then try the steps at a later time, or you can follow along, pausing the video after each section. If you would like to follow along, pause the presentation now and either find a video that you would like to experiment with or download the sample video provided. The sample video is a 16-second video about heat stress in dairy cows. But don't worry if you don't know much about heat stress in dairy cows or dairy cows in general, no one will be grading your rendition. Again, as you watch the presentation, if you want to follow along and create your own voiceover, pause the video at the appropriate places. You will see an indication to do so on the screen, and then follow the steps for the section that you just watched. To help you remember the workflow for each section, I have provided step-by-step worksheets that you should download and use as you watch the video. Let's dive right in. This is DaVinci Resolve. In addition to being a video editor, it also includes an audio editor. And these tabs down here are what we're going to be using to navigate the program. For a voiceover recording, we are going to be working mostly in the Edit tab and the Fairlight tab, which is the actual audio editor. The first thing we need to do is import the video that we're going to be recording the voiceover for. I'm going to drag and drop my video here. Now I have the video here, it's right there, and I need to add it to my timeline. I'm going to simply drag it onto the timeline here and make sure that it's at the very beginning of the timeline. And you can see that the video is split into two parts. There is the video track and the audio track. Now, the first thing I'm going to suggest that you do is lock these tracks because we don't want to edit them in any way. We're going to add a second audio track, and we just want to make absolutely sure that we won't be accidentally deleting anything or modifying anything in the original video that we got from the client. So now that we have the video there, it's probably a good idea to save our project. I'm going to go to File and then Save Project. I am going to call it Heat Stress in Dairy Cows Voiceover and save. And with that, my project is saved. All I have is the video for now. So now I need to set up my microphone and my second audio track for recording. I'm going to do that from the audio editor here, Fairlight. I see my original audio track, and this is where I can create a new one. So I will right click here and select Add Track, and I'm going to select a mono track. And it's a good idea to rename the track. So just double click here and change the name so that you will know which is your voiceover track. So the original audio track is called Audio 1, and the new audio track is called Voiceover. On the right hand side here, you can see that these are the controls for the Audio 1 track, and these are the controls for the Voiceover track. I need to enable my microphone so that I will be able to record to the Voiceover track. So in order to do that, I'm going to go here where it says no input. And remember, I'm in audio track 2, no input, and then select input and select my microphone. Your different audio inputs will be listed here. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this one. And it's important to click patch. And so now you can see that the voiceover track is linked to this microphone here. And I can close this window. And in order to enable the track for recording, I need to click the R, this little R button. I can do that here, or I can also do it here. It's a good idea to change the height of the tracks so that we can see the waveform a little bit more clearly. For now, the voiceover track is empty. It's very important to change a little setting to make sure that we are not hearing ourselves as we record the voiceover as we are interpreting. So in order to do that, we go to the Fairlight menu here, and then from there, select Input Monitor Style and make sure that you have mute selected. Another setting that is a good idea to set up from the beginning is the noise reduction setting. That's an effect that goes on the audio track. So let's go here to audio track 2, our voiceover track. Click on the plus sign there and go to restoration. It's almost the last one on the list, and then select noise reduction from here. And you will see here that noise reduction is now enabled. So we are going to close this window, and we have enabled noise reduction. So we have the track armed for recording. We have all of our settings. We are ready to start recording. In order to start recording our voiceover, we will have to go here and click this button. Now, here's another little tip. Every time you click on this button, that click will be picked up by the microphone and will end up in the final recorded product. So you want to make sure that you either have a very silent mouse or that you use a touchpad. That should not be a problem if you are using a laptop computer, but if you are using a desktop computer, then maybe it's a good idea to consider getting an external touchpad so that you can do that very quietly and not end up with the clicks in your final recording. Let's do it now and see how that works. So I'm going to click here, and you will hear the click because I'm using a mouse. And I'm listening now, I'm hearing the audio, and at the same time, I am recording. And this, of course, would be the actual interpretation that I would be recording here. And when I am done, I can simply click here to stop. And there it is. And now we have the recording right here. If I go back to the beginning and then play it, I will be hearing both the original and what I recorded. Now, I don't want to keep the same level of audio when I send this to my client. So I would go here to the first track, track A1, and reduce the volume there, maybe to that level. And I can, of course, play it back and forth to see if it's comfortable. I can also increase the volume of the interpretation or voiceover track, and that would give me something that is better for my client. I'm using a mouse and I'm listening now. I'm hearing the audio, and at the same time, I am recording. And this, of course, would be the actual interpretation. This is the playhead here, and you move the playhead, click and drag it to go to different places in your video. I'm going to put it at the very beginning because I want to explain something else. Here in DaVinci Resolve, you can also edit your voiceover track. So you remove the beginning, that part where you are not speaking yet, and you can then move this over to the left so that the sound in your voiceover will be aligned with the sound in the original audio track. In order to do that, the first thing is we need to move the playhead to where we want to make the cut. Let's say about there, right? Because I want to cut here. That's when I started talking. Then in order to cut that, we want to go here and select the razor. And you can either click on the scissors or you can use a shortcut, which is Control B. So I'm just going to click on that and you can see I'm going to move the playhead so you can see that it was cut right there. So I need to get rid of this first part so that I can move this to the beginning, and I'm just going to click on that and press delete on my keyboard, and that helps me delete that section that I cut off. I can do the same at the end. I can cut, let's say cut here and then cut here and remove that part if I need to re-record something or edit something. But now that I have cut it, by simply dragging the audio track, I can move it so that it can be aligned where I want it to be. Like I said, you can also edit or re-record anything that you need to re-record. Let's say, for example, that this last part wasn't right and I want to edit that out and re-record that part. So what I would do is I would move my playhead to where I want to cut that last part, for example, and then cut that out, delete it, and I have the playhead exactly where I need to start recording again. What I could do is just go slightly back, start playing, and I need to be ready to start recording. I'm going to use my left hand to press the space bar to start playing the video. And then when it's time to start recording again, I'll hit record, because if I click record here, it will record over this, and I don't want that. So I'm going to use the space key now to start advancing the video. And here I click record and I start recording what I'm saying right now in the voiceover track. And now I have something that looks like this. This video that I'm using for the example today is very short, less than 20 seconds. But with longer videos, you may want to play a little with the zoom controls so that you can see more or less of the timeline. Of course, you can use this to scroll horizontally. But if you go here and click on this, you will see the different options, navigation options and scrolling. But what I'd like to show you here is the zoom controls. I'm going to click on the 3 and click on the 2 and see. With the 2, this is really compressed. I'm going to click on 4. And so that gives you more control if you want to go into certain sections there of the timeline. I'm going to go back and we're going to go back to 3, which is comfortable for this length of audio. After you have finished your recording, it's time to go back to the Edit tab, and this is the video editing layout. You don't really need to do anything here necessarily, but it's time to maybe do a preview of what you have recorded. And again, you can move the playhead, and as you hit the space bar, you can hear both the original audio and your own recording on top of that and see if it sounds okay. When you're happy with everything and you're ready to prepare the final file that will go out to your client, then simply go here to the Deliver tab, click there, and that will open these options here. I'm going to show you how to deliver to different formats of this project. One is going to be a video And another one is going to be an MP3, an audio file, because clients sometimes will ask you for an MP3 file. If you want to export the video, my suggestion is that you select this first option here, then go to the format and select the format that you want. A QuickTime video may be what your client wants, but my clients for the most part ask for MP4 video files. So all I need to do is select MP4 there. I don't really need to change anything else, but it's important to give the file a name, a title. So I'm going to call this Heat Stress in Dairy Cows. And I'm just going to say VO for VoiceOver. Select a location where you want to save your file. And so far, we have only said where we want to save the file, but it hasn't been exported yet. So the next thing we need to do is click here where it says Add to Render Queue. And that will add it to this queue here. So the next thing is when you are ready, you just click Render All. And wait, depending on how long your video is, it may take a little longer to render. This is only 16 seconds or so. So it was ready very, very quickly. And I can actually open my file now. This is the final product. And I'm listening now, I'm hearing the audio, and at the same time, I am recording. And this, of course, would be the actual interpretation that I would be reading. I click record and I start recording what I'm saying right now in the voiceover. So that's how you export to a video file. Now, what if you need an audio file? Well, same thing, you go to Deliver, and here you need to scroll to the right until you find this option that says Audio Only. Again, give your file a name. I'm just going to use the same name, and find a location. I'm just going to keep the same location I used earlier. And select audio here and select your audio format. So let's say that my client wants an MP3. Here in the option for the output track, you need to select the tracks that you want to export. For an MP3, it's unusual for the client, at least in my case, to ask for an audio track that includes both the original and the interpretation. They usually just want the interpretation. So the bus one option, that is the default, will include both tracks with the volume balance that you selected earlier. And if you want to export only the voiceover track, for example, then you would have to go to timeline track and enter here the number 2. And that is going to export that timeline track, only the voiceover track, to the MP3 file. I will then select here Add to Render Queue. And I don't want to re-render the previous job, so I'm going to delete it from the list and then click Render All. And it's really quick because it's only the audio, plus this is a very short clip. If I go to my folder where I have the files, I now have the voiceover video and also the MP3 file. And these are both deliverables that my client may want to get. So that's all when it comes to recording voiceovers using DaVinci Resolve. That was easy, right? Now you are ready to offer this service to your clients. If you have any questions or you would like to explore this further, I'll be keeping an eye on the Summit community. So please reach out to me there. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you are enjoying the Summit.
What an amazing presentation, right? If you've got questions about this one or any of the presentations at the Summit, make sure to head over to the Summit community and continue the conversation there. All of the speakers will be keeping an eye on the community and responding to your questions.